Coming up on the Paper Talk today, international football break is almost over. We'll be getting into that and what it means for Manchester United players. Also, what is going on with the midfield situation? Could one of our midfield targets just have put himself to the top of the list? Let's get into it. Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and I'm not going to lie to you, it is pretty cold, so you might need your parkers. Loads of stories to get through. Before we do though, make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. We want to get to 850,000 subscribers, and with your support, yes we can get there. Now, international break is almost over. We're almost through it. It's been a bit of a slog, hasn't it? But there's light at the end of the tunnel and we're looking forward towards Premier League football sooner rather than later. In terms of international football and what happened, Bruno Fernandes bagged himself a hat-trick in Portugal's 9-1 win over Armenia. Good to see him scoring for his country. Good to see him doing well. Portugal qualifying for the World Cup, obviously. And yeah, more power to him. No Ronaldo in that game, so he got to take a couple of penalties and he scored them. Happy days. Ireland obviously qualifying as well. I know there's a lot of our viewers who are from Ireland will be very happy about that. Dramatic scenes over Hungary. Well done to the Irish for getting through to the World Cup. England played as well. England have had a pretty flawless World Cup campaign. I don't want to dwell on the international break too much, but I'll just talk about it quickly. The big thing about the England game for me was Adam Wharton. He got a lot of praise for his performance. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't watch it. But I did see the reaction to it from Roy Keane. I've seen the quotes as well, and he was full of praise for him. He said that he liked what he sees from Adam Wharton, that he likes the fact that Adam Wharton wants to pass the ball forward. He doesn't always play it safe like a lot of midfielders do. And he also said that he wants to see Adam Wharton stop being so soft. And I even think that was a backhanded compliment, because when he was talking about him being soft, he was talking about him sort of giving his teammates a bit of a rollicking, shouting at him and letting him know what he's about. And I think he said that will come with time, so he doesn't want to be too harsh on him. But he thinks he's a very good player. So the reason I'm highlighting Adam Wharton, of course, and highlighting Roy Keane's comments on him is because Wharton has been linked quite heavily with Manchester United over the last year or so, and it seems to be gathering a little bit more momentum this season, because Adam Wharton has continued where he left off last season with some very good performances for Crystal Palace in a role that Manchester United are looking at as well. Also, unlike some of the other midfielders we're looking at, well, mainly Baleba, his performances haven't been somewhat erratic. Baleba hasn't been great this season. He's had some decent performances, he's had some poor ones, and against Manchester United he wasn't great. It wasn't a good audition for him, and that's kind of put a few people off. Now, Fabrizio Romano still says that Carlos Baleba is a priority signing for Manchester United. Manchester United want him. Manchester United have had talks with him last summer to indicate whether he'd be keen to join the club, and he would be keen to join the club. So there is an element of that where you go, look, United want him, he wants to come here, it's doable. However, the numbers being bandied around 110, 115 million for a player who this season isn't playing too well do seem a little bit excessive. Now, how does this all pan out? What happens? Do Manchester United walk away from that deal? Do they say, well, we'll get him, but he's not had the greatest of seasons, we're going to give you less for him? Or does he turn it around this season? I mean, we're only in November. Got a lot of football left to play. Doesn't look like we're going to get him in January. So if he's got until the end of the season, then he could quite easily have a storming rest of the campaign. Manchester United could go, yep, that's the player we want, and we bring him in. However, I've said this over the last few weeks as well, Adam Wharton is looking a little bit more favourable just because the price isn't as excessive. I think you're looking around 70, 75 million for him. That might go up if he has a good World Cup. We'll have to wait and see. Plus, he's having a very good season, unlike Baleba. The other midfielder, we're looking at Elliot Anderson. I think he came on as sub yesterday for England. He's another one that Manchester United are interested in. He's probably closer to the £70 million mark than he is the £115 million mark, but not that far off it, if that makes any sense. Why don't I just say what I think he's going to cost? I reckon you're looking at about 80 to 90 million for someone like Elliot Anderson. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know whether you agree. However, the thing with Elliot Anderson is, a bit like Adam Wharton, he's having a very good campaign. He did very well when he played against Manchester United. These are all slightly different types of midfielders, aren't they? If we're being honest. Carlos Baleba has a bit more legs about him, a bit more up and down the field. Adam Wharton likes sitting a little bit more. Elliot Anderson likes to get forward a little bit more, though he does get all over the pitch. So there's little different traits that these midfielders all have, but you'd expect them to fit into the Ruben Amorim system quite well in a sort of that double pivot that we do like at Manchester United. You can imagine Adam Wharton, Carlos Baleba, all Elliot Anderson, all fitting in. bringing different things. Like I said earlier, though, Roy Keane, impressed with Adam Wharton. I've been impressed with what I've seen of Adam Wharton. He could be a candidate for Manchester United signing in the summer. Who knows? Maybe Manchester United even go all out and bring in 2 midfielders. I was speaking about this yesterday on the live news I did from my kitchen in the morning. There's always that possibility. Manchester United could go out and they could try and get Baleba and Wharton, or Elliot Anderson and Wharton, or Elliot Anderson and Baleba. Who knows? That not beyond the realms of possibility, especially when you look at the age of Casemiro and the fact we are probably going to lose him. And hopefully, if we have Champions League football, we'll need a bigger squad. We'll need a bigger boat. Kobbie Mainoo's future is one that is a little bit up in the air. There's a few reports this morning, and we've seen them elsewhere over the last few weeks, that Napoli could be a destination for him in the summer. However, he does not want to leave the club on a permanent basis. He doesn't want to go there and stay there. He doesn't want an obligation to buy. He just wants to go there, seemingly to get his not get his career going. That sounds a little bit melodramatic, but put himself in with the shout of getting into Thomas Tuchel's World Cup squad. It's unlikely that he's going to make the World Cup squad, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Kobbie Mainoo's done very well in England's shirt. If he was to get a move in January and he was to smash it between January and the summer, he would have an outside chance of making that trip to the World Cup. It's not going to be easy for him, but stranger things have happened. Let's not forget, he made his Premier League debut in November a few years ago, and he made the Euro squad and played all the way to the final after sort of coming on as a substitute in the first couple of games, I think it was, or whenever it was. So he might look at that and go, look, I've gate-crashed the party before, I can do it again, but I need to be playing regular football. We've spoken about this again on the channel quite a lot. Does Ruben Amorim let him go? I'm not so sure he will, because despite the fact Kobbie Mainoo has had no Premier League starts this season, he does feature. He is someone who gets minutes, not many of them, and sometimes he's just a cameo, but he has had games where he's come on at half time, he's had games where he's had half an hour or whatever. If I'm Ruben Amorim, I'm looking at it and going, well, I actually need this player. He's a player I'm using, and if we get injuries, he's a player that's probably going to get more minutes. So whilst I want to see him develop and I want to see him progress, and I don't want to see him stagnate, and it would be good for the player to go to the World Cup, is it good for me? Right now, in the here and now, is it good if I let Kobbie Mainoo go to Napoli or anywhere else? Probably not. So I think that might be a difficult one in January. We'll have to see how that pans out and whether Ruben Amorim is willing to let him go. And also what happens with the Conor Gallagher situation. United being linked with the Atletico Madrid midfielder. Could Conor Gallagher come in, and does that pave the way for Kobbie Mainoo to move on? We'll have to wait and see. There's lots of sort of ifs and buts and maybes at the minute with what is happening at Manchester United. No one's quite sure in terms of what's going to go on with the midfield situation, so we're just having to wait and see, and that's where we're up to with a lot of the news at the minute, to be honest with you, because we're just trying to get through this international break, and we are almost there. We're not even playing this weekend. We're playing on Monday, aren't we? Manchester United. It's Monday Night Football. So we've got a little while longer to wait than everyone else before we can finally kick off or restart the Premier League season. But we're looking ahead towards that on the channel this week. Also, we're going to have the usual things. We're going to have the Paddock podcast later on today. We're going to have Howson's videos, we're going to have Uncensored, all that good stuff. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Go and check out as well the videos we've done last week. We did Carl Anker in the studio with his tactics board. That was a great video. We can have a look at that. Just before I wrap up as well, there's a story in The Athletic about AFCON. Just going through the nuts and bolts of AFCON, how that's going to affect Manchester United, because we know we're going to lose Nusayr Mazraoui, we're going to lose Amad Diallo, and we're going to lose Brian and Bumo as well, all important players for Manchester United. It's going to be a bit of a devastating blow. So The Athletic has gone through all that and sort of worked out what all the permutations of it, and we'll do a video on that later on this week, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I've been Jay Marty outside a very cold Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.